Hello and welcome. I'm Devin.
And I'm Darren.
And this is 10-Minute Tabletop News, where we break down the 3 biggest stories from tabletop for the past week in 10 minutes or less so you can get back to building characters, stacking dice, and playing the game. So first off, the D&D movie. Everyone's talking about it.
Yes.
There's early screenings everywhere. There was the influencer screening Paramount did. There's the one that Amazon Prime's doing.
Yeah, SXSW.
Yeah, the South by Southwest. But generally, people love it.
Yeah, it's getting very positive reviews, which personally, no shade here. I'm a little surprised because the trailer, they got an algorithm to abide by. There's things that work in a trailer, and I didn't really know what to expect, but people are loving it.
Here's the thing. But I might just be too much of a fantasy fanboy and just
Take off your rose-colored glasses.
Also, remember, you've never seen the 2000s Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
And if you want, we did a whole hour analysis on this movie. The history behind it getting made is insane. Check the link in the description for that. But it is so bad.
Yeah.
It is.
So your expectations are starting from down here, and so
I wasn't expecting to see something that was like, wow, this looks fun.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really excited.
I will say with that clip that they released, the one of the Raised Dead.
Yeah, the
Dead
Raised Dead. Yeah.
That one actually restored my faith in it a little bit because that did actually feel truly D&D.
It did.
But not in a way that was that would alienate a generic audience or general viewing audience. So I was like, okay, this can be fun, but still harken back to the things that feel very honestly D&D. So. And
if you've seen the trailer, spoilers, there is it does look like the D&D cartoon characters make a cameo.
Yes.
But generally, it's well received. Some people say the story is kind of but it was a really fun movie. And I think that's what the goal here is, make a fun movie. No one's trying to do a Game of Thrones in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But why is this important?
I'm curious to see how this is going to translate to actual new players and sales.
Yeah.
How many books are going to be sold? How many people are going to sign up for start playing games? How many people this is going to be their introduction into okay, this is actually fun.
Yeah.
This is sick. Now that I've watched this movie, I'm not as scared to get started in this thing that once seemed so big and esoteric. I got the basics.
Right.
I can do this.
Now, D&D reports that there's 40 million people playing their game. Now, that could be a mixture of playing their online games, playing their board games, and playing the actual game Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. So what that 40 million actually is, but we can see hey, how many people watch this film?
Yeah.
How big is this grossing? That can give us a really good idea of how many people that aren't part of the tabletop community are interested in the movie, and then thus maybe interested in the game.
Yeah.
And I do think that the more people that get in the hobby, the better.
Yeah.
So I hope that this brings a lot of people in. Same with what Netflix did.
Yeah.
Netflix did with Stranger Things. Just the smallest amount of D&D was involved, and it was a lot of people say that they caused a huge stir in interest in D&D, just from the little bit they included in Stranger Things.
And unlike Critical Role, where some people who watch the Critical Role show actually have no idea that it's associated with D&D at all, this is very clearly the D&D Wizards of the Coast brand. So I'm excited.
Yeah, same.
For all those lovely new faces.
Now, the next kind of a more serious note in news is Zebra Youth, which is a network of organizations that kind of provide services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth. They've put together this tabletop RPGs for trans rights in Florida.
I love the tabletop community.
It's
you guys
amazing.
are the fucking best.
And huge, there's just a massive amount of bills, legislature, executive action that is targeting trans youth, queer youth. I mean, the entire community in Florida. Their fundraiser that they put out, which you get 500 games for $5 on itch.io. And you can check the link in the description for that. But it's amazing how quickly there was mobilization.
Oh, 100%. I actually, it makes me really, really love being a part of this community because it shows the ability for the tabletop RPG community to very quickly state their values and get together and kind of exhibit a sense of cohesion and all being on the same page. Not that homogeny is the best thing in the world, but I'm saying that the ability to get together and like stand for something and do it so quickly and effectively with the OGL crisis, with this, trans rights movements, I think it's fucking awesome. And it makes me happy to be a part of something that's not afraid to represent it strongly.
Now, itch.io is common for this. Itch.io has done a lot of fundraisers where creators who make games and publish them on itch.io, which is a platform for publishing games, they've done this a lot. So they have a lot of infrastructure to do this, but they continue to do it, and we continue to see those numbers climb. I mean, so far, as recording this, $150,000 has been raised. That's over 16,000 people that are actively contributing this.
Hell yeah.
That's great. I think over 250 creators have actually provided content to the package.
Yeah,
kind of like a humble bundle, right?
Yeah, it's over 500 games in the PDF form. So
it is incredible, but I think it's one of the things where you see how quickly the industry of tabletop and the people that are very vocal about it and the people that are very passionate about how quickly they mobilize, how quickly they kind of create things to act on their values. And so I think, if you are looking at the industry, that is something to always keep in mind is like there's now always going to be kind of political decisions made because, these aren't political issues. These are human rights issues.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that is a good part to see in tabletop, especially with there's a lot of history of toxicity. Toxicity. So it is great to see something like this. And what's wild, which is going to lead us into our third story, is that the trans rights in Florida that was out of 16,700 contributors, which is a lot more than The Walking Dead's.
All right, you guys. We were wrong. We were super wrong.
Walking Dead, 4,600 backers so far. It's still going.
Yeah.
It's at almost 500,000. It'll probably end around 1 million, maybe a little under 1 million.
Yeah, if you guys tuned in a couple weeks ago, we talked about the Walking Dead RPG game when it was first coming out, and we estimated that it would probably supersede the Avatar Kickstarter just based on the size of the fan base.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
We were wrong. Here's the thing. I'm not going to put you in my bucket of being wrong because I feel I definitely steered you into that way of thinking. But yeah, I thought they were going to crush. But I also, we looked into this. Why didn't it perform as well as we thought? And here's the thing. It's performing really, really well. But if you look at other things that have launched around the same season, you have Shadow Dark RPG, which is like an old school tabletop RPG, and it's like grimdark, right? It did. It's almost at 1 million already.
Yeah.
I think it has twice as many backers as well. Yeah, 8,700. So it's absolutely crushing at 900,000 that is fundraised so far. Why did AMC not AMC, but Walking Dead? Why didn't it crush as hard?
It's interesting because we're comparing it to Avatar, right? Like Avatar did $2.4 million in
3 days.
3 days, and then in about a month they were at about 9.5 million. Of course, ultimately getting to around 10 million, but we're 12 days in with The Walking Dead, right? And they're at around 850,000 if I'm not mistaken.
No, 400,000
or 400,000.
Yeah,
whoa.
Yeah. Right.
So but the difference is, right, Avatar, they put their stamp on it. It's on their YouTube channel. Exactly. The show is in the trailer. Clips from the show are in the trailer. They actually aligned it with their branding. Where with The Walking Dead, I don't think they're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not.
I don't think AMC is doing enough on the marketing side.
No,
and this
they're not owning
to
it.
Be almost everything that is Free League. I think Free League is it's their entire marketing, and it doesn't seem like AMC's putting any kind of effort in outside of that. And that's okay because there are people that love Free League, love this game, they're gonna be really interested in it, but I think they could have gotten a much larger reach if AMC's The Walking Dead and their media house kind of pushed into it as well.
It's not even on The Walking Dead's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's on Free League's YouTube channel, and it's come on, if you're gonna have anyone push it, you're gonna push it to The Walking Dead audience, which is crazy. And there's also the chance, that The Walking Dead isn't a very specifically nerd-focused kind of franchise.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of crossover casual viewership that maybe just doesn't translate to the tabletop RPG space. But a lot of it also could just be reach. I me personally, I do think it's a lot of reach. I think The Walking Dead, I think people are going to love it. I think it's going to be a great tabletop RPG.
Free League does great stuff. But I think if brands and major IP is going to try to push into tabletop games, they have to fully commit.
You guys, you got to tell people about it. You got to let them know.
Lean into what Nickelodeon did with Avatar: The Last Airbender,
right.
where it really was a partnership with Magpie and not just a licensing deal. Mm-hmm. And that's everything. That's all we have for you this week. This was 10-Minute Tabletop News. I'm Devin.
And I'm Darren.
And thank you for being here. If you want to support the show, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/TotalPartyChill. And we'll see you next week.